Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Okay, just before we get to Sara Orlesky of the Winnipeg Jets, late of TSN, which we know all about, by the way, I want to remind people that Donnie and Dolly is presented by Able Auctions. The owners of Bayview Motorcycles in Parksville on the island are retiring and have instructed Able Auctions to sell everything, all the leathers. Okay, you might be into that. Several Royal Enfield new, I'm just getting a visual now, which I don't want.
You don't want.
Several Royal Enfield new and collector motorcycles, Harleys, Can-Ams, a complete service shop with bike lifts, retail inventory and parts inventory. Everything at Bayview Motorcycles in Parksville will be sold Saturday, September 24th. For info on this auction, other auctions, or Rick, to get your business assets sold at auction, go to ableauctions.ca. That's ableauctions.ca. We're good? Yeah. We got Sara. Longtime TSN broadcaster Sara Orlesky. She's worked at World Juniors, the Olympics, the last 13 Grey Cups, worked extensively with the Canadian Football League, longtime CFL reporter. Recently said goodbye to her CFL audience. It was quite an emotional moment. Now she is working, I think I've got this right, senior host and producer for Winnipeg Jets broadcast, and the Jets are in the news today, yeah. Sara Orlesky. Thanks so much for joining us, Sara. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on. It's so nice to be with you two.
Oh, no problem at all. How tough is it to say goodbye to covering the Canadian Football League after all those years?
You know, I've just finally stopped crying, Donnie, and now you might get me all emotional again for it. Very difficult. It was very bittersweet. We said that the CFL obviously was covering it, was part of my job, but it was such a labor of love for me as well. Having covered it for so many years, I started my career out at City TV in Vancouver, and then I was with The Score in Vancouver, and then on to TSN. So I've covered in some capacity for almost 20 years the CFL. So I think my joke was always that I think Richie Hall might have been the only coach left in the league that I didn't cover as a player for it. So having covered it for so long, and you both know, I mean, the people associated with that league, whether it be players, coaches, the fans, it's so special. It's so special. So it was so bittersweet to leave it. So I'll be cheering from the sidelines now.
Sara, you just said something there, and I totally agree with you, that people take their shots at the Canadian Football League. For what reason, I'm not sure. But for any of us who covered the Canadian Football League like you did, and I did in my past, same with Rick, you just love working that league. What is it about the CFL that reporters like so much?
I mean, for me, it was a mixture. I'm a huge community person, and I think that, bigger picture, one of the things that I love about the league is just that the fan bases, some obviously are stronger or larger than others, but they're so passionate regardless. I mean, you might not have the same sort of fan turnout in Toronto as you do in the prairies, but with that being said, those that do follow the Argos are so passionate about it, and I love that. I love that I was able to go to, whether it be Grey Cups or, in the years previous, I'd covered Touchdown Atlantics, and I was able to recognize fans going, that person's a huge Alouettes fan. I see her at all the Alouettes games, or I see this person, and I love that. But the players and the coaches, I think, obviously the economics of that league are very different than a lot of the other professional sports. And so the players, there's something about the fact that they were very much like you and I, and there was just a real mutual respect that I found. And I thought it was such a joy to cover, to be honest. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I totally agree. What can you tell us about your new job with you're from Winnipeg, with the Winnipeg Jets?
So it is. You did get the title right. It's senior host and producer. So I'm really looking forward to it. It also keeps me in town a lot more, which, having a now 13-year-old daughter is certainly a benefit to being around more. I was saying to someone today, I've never in the summer, and other than an odd weekend here or there, I've never been off on a weekend in the summer since she was born, because I've always been on the road. But in terms of what I'll be doing, I'll be hosting their post game show, providing content throughout pre-game and leading up to it as well, and then more interviews and more in depth. I think that one of the things that we've really seen is that the way that fans, their relationship with teams has changed, the way that they consume has changed, and I think that people want to know more and more about the players beyond just what's going on the ice or on the field, depending on what the sport is. And so for me, I'm hoping to be able to showcase these players a little bit more about what they're like as people, not just as athletes, and something in this market that we haven't seen a lot of so far since they've been here. So I think that there's a real appetite for it, and I'm really excited at the opportunity to be able to do it.
Sara, great timing to get you on today. Big story developing in Winnipeg this morning. Great timing. Blake Wheeler stripped of his captaincy. Your thoughts on what's going on there with the Jets and the captaincy?
Yeah, I mean, it was news that came as a surprise today. I wasn't expecting to see that, but it shows that Rick Bowness and his coaching staff, obviously putting the stamp, have assessed what they've, from speaking to players throughout this offseason so far, and are putting their stamp on it. And we just heard from Rick, as well as Blake came out to speak, and Blake spoke about the honor that he had of being coach, or of being captain, should I say, and that this was, he's still going to lead regardless of whether or not he's wearing a letter on there. But I think it'll be interesting to see. They want to be able to expand the leadership group, give some of the younger players maybe an opportunity to have a little bit more ownership of this team. And Rick spoke about how this is a new coaching staff, this is a new start, and so give them the opportunity to kind of start over with everybody. But it certainly sent shockwaves, I think, a little bit through here, just given how many years Blake Wheeler has been captain, and you don't see it, obviously, on a regular basis. So it's a turning of the page in some respects, but I think that anybody that's followed Blake knows that the way that he leads and the way that he's played on the ice, I mean, I would expect that to continue regardless of whether he's wearing a letter or not.
Sara, I want to go back to the CFL because there was something that happened in Winnipeg this year that I really liked. Mike OShea came out when Nathan Rourke got hurt, and he kind of, he just kind of said, hey, I feel sorry for this guy, and not many coaches do that, talk about an opposing quarterback. What about the Nathan Rourke story? How great was it? Was it captured across the country? In Vancouver it caught a lot of imagination, but what about in Winnipeg?
Oh, I think it did everywhere. It was unfortunately, when he got injured and I was working that game, that I think that collectively heard it from across players and coaches across the league. I know that we would speak to afterwards. Just he's so great for the game for it. And I had said he is the type of player that I had watched him on television, but their game in their first time in Regina was the first time that I had covered him in person as starting quarterback. And I was blown away to watch him play. Mm-hmm. And I thought, to see him, he is the type of player that you would, if the Lions were coming into town, you needed to go get a ticket to watch him play. Yeah. That he's must see. And even more impressive in person. And I just think that people across the league, and Mike OShea, I mean, he's such a proud Canadian and such a proud supporter of the league, that I mean, it was devastating to see because Nathan, what we were seeing him do, we hadn't seen anyone do before, and the excitement, it was good for the league. That's what the league needs. I mean, you look across it right now, you think about, there are not a lot of really great quarterbacks for it. It's an issue right now. Yes. And so to have someone like Nathan come in and to be young and to be, he's so genuine is what struck me as well. As much as we talk about the way that he is on the field, I have to tell you is that, so we would do interviews whether it be on Zooms beforehand with some of our crew that was calling the game, and we would interview with players. And so Nathan came on, and one day we're talking to him, and the internet connection out at the practice facility wasn't great. And so he's freezing up, and so we lost the connection. And he sent a text to Rowan afterwards to apologize for the fact that the internet hadn't worked. And then when I saw him the next day, never having officially met him before, he apologized to me again for the fact that there were issues. And it's just, so he was just so genuine, and the talent that he has. And I just think that everyone across the league, regardless of what team you play for, coach for, cheer for, wants to see Nathan Rourke back and wants to see him in the league because he is exciting and such a great talent.
Yep. Sarah, leaving TSN, that was your decision, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What's that like? Because we didn't get that chance. I'm just kidding. I don't want to put you on the spot. Okay, Sarah, thanks so much. You made time for us. We remember you starting out in Vancouver, and you've done so well for yourself. We're all proud of you, and good luck with the Jets.
Oh, thank you so much, and appreciate it. Hey, anytime you guys want to talk Jets or CFL, I mean, I am more than happy to jump on, and thanks so much for having me too. Congratulations on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Sarah. All the best. And again, thanks for joining us.